Hello, trading has closed on August 12th, 2020. We'll do our disclaimer, then go over our calls. It's my plan for tomorrow. If you want to risk money, do it at your own risk. If you have an opinion, give the reason. Well, we had a number of calls. Look for the pattern with the early high. This is it. Tomorrow has the early low. Said this was a very negative pattern. We said it needed confirmation. Confirmation would be trading under yesterday's close by 1 cent. That never happened. We said the only thing that would kill the pattern would be to gap and promptly take out this high. I said it looked pretty unlikely. We gapped and without stopping for a pullback at this bar, took out the high. So that was the one thing that would kill the pattern, and that's what we got. We had some targets. This top one was a misprint. It should be this, but they all printed. And it's always satisfying when we cross an old target off the list. Note that it took about 6 months for this to print, but it did print, and the market never forgets the number. It isn't only a target, it's also resistance, and there's resistance. We do have a target which didn't print in March of this year, and before that we have to go back to November of 2016. So even though these numbers don't print when you want them to, it's a long wait, eventually they do print. And that's why it's significant we have some more prices from the system for tomorrow. There's a target of 33.7558, most likely to print by tomorrow, and unless we gap up, that's my call. Gap up smartly, that's my call. Ultimately, we should see 33.6956 and usually more than that. There's no time limit, but normally you don't have to wait long. As always, you gap sharply higher. They should still print. I'm not predicting it'll be tomorrow. Also predicting it wouldn't be tomorrow if we gap up. During the day, here's your ultimate sell signal. These things fail about once every 2 or 3 years, but that doesn't mean it has to print anytime soon. MEJT said this drop would retrace, now says this rally will retrace. We're still on these to mark sell signals. They haven't worked, but one thing which has worked are these TDST lines, which are resistance. And this one I think is around 33.89.15. Resistance goes to one full bar over the line. Now we don't have to go over the line, but if you go more than one full bar over the line, you've overcome major resistance and it's off to the races. That hasn't happened yet. As of now, we're still at resistance. Just a reminder of what we said, commonest thing is a gap and prompt move outside the day's range. That happened. We said it was we only needed to trade under yesterday's close to confirm the negative action, and that never happened. And we said it's a candidate for the end of the rally leg, but we need confirmation. That hasn't happened. Well, here's this trend line. We're still hugging it. It's still resistance. Usually when you hug it for this long, eventually you're going to break through. And usually when you invalidate a pattern as negative as yesterday's, it means you're going to break through. So based on those things, you would think it's just a matter of time till we break through to a new high. And maybe we will. But just as yesterday's pattern was invalidated, today's pattern could be invalidated. We gapped up, hit higher highs, closed under all these highs, even closed under yesterday's high. It's a negative pattern. Let's gap and take this high out early. Lower prices should be seen tomorrow. Not a guarantee of a lower close, but that's a wall, although this consolidation might make me wrong on that. That's a wall, that's a hole in the wall gap. these things fill, and usually, not always, they fill in a day or so. And then find support under this low. So if the bears are going to win this one, they have a good chance. What they have to do is gap tomorrow, preferably under this low, and promptly undercut this one, because tomorrow's pattern has the early low, and usually it's a positive pattern, and if you don't show early weakness, we should go up. So if we show early weakness, this pattern could be interpreted anthropomorphically as just satisfying a need to hit the target and then resuming the drop. But you have to invalidate this quickly by taking this low out promptly after gapping. That doesn't happen, and particularly if the rally continues past the TDST line, we could go much higher from here. So we'll sum things up. We have mixed signals. We'll apply the rules. Tomorrow's pattern has the early low, doesn't mean you won't gap up. Typically it's a rally day with a high in the final hour, but early weakness is usually followed by more weakness in days to come. It's positive we get the low of the day early and rallied past resistance and invalidated yesterday's negative pattern. Usually when something as negative as yesterday gets invalidated, there's more upside to come. Doesn't mean it has to come tomorrow. But it's negative. We hit the MEJT resistance level and reversed, gapped up, hit the higher highs, closed under a bunch of highs. So the rally accomplished nothing since it couldn't hold on to the gains. We also have the hole in the wall gap. These gaps do fill, and usually, not always, they fill pretty quickly, and there's support under the low of the wall. It's most likely to fill by tomorrow at the latest Friday's open, but if it doesn't fill then, it doesn't have to fill anytime soon. Now, just as we gapped and overtook yesterday's high, that invalidated yesterday's action. If we gap and undercut today's low, that invalidates today's invalidation. So we should know early on which of those things is going to happen. So tomorrow has the early low, early weakness undercutting this low. We're still having a possible top. But if we don't have early weakness, the odds are we're going to have a rally day, and the odds dramatically increase that this potential area of a potential top isn't going to be a top at all. And that's why tomorrow's open looks like it's going to be pretty telling. Early low, we'll see how low we go, and that's today's call.